Chapter 23 The Fire Within. Our last night at the cave did not begin like our others. Don Juan had me stay at the fire circle while he went off to get the wood. Then we built the fire together. After the fire was burning, I went to my place across from him and expected him to start chanting. Instead, he pulled his river cane flute out from his blanket roll and began to play. The haunting, longing melodies he played are forever engraved upon my memory. The entire desert became still and silent, and it seemed that the chamber where we were moaned with each soft yet penetrating tone. The round notes hung like globules in the cool air, manifesting visually in front of my eyes. The effect was so overpowering that it caused my spine to relax. In order to hold up my weight, I had to lie on my back and let the waves of song wash over me. It was in this way that I drifted off. The next thing I remember was awakening into dreaming and seeing Don Juan's face gazing into mine, just inches above me. I was startled that his face seemed so close. He told me to get up, that it was time to go. Willingly I rose to follow him out of the entrance to the cave, past the warm burning fire. I was not concerned that we would be leaving our physical bodies behind us. When we reached the mouth of the cave, he turned to look at me. He was almost fully turned around facing me when a white light flared. I lost all visual perception, except for the white light. It was as if a supernova had exploded between us. I knew he was there, and yet I could see nothing but the light. Even though I could see nothing other than the white light, I sensed there to be a shimmering river outside the mouth of the cave. Somehow it was perceivable in the texture of light. We would need to cross it. I felt Don Juan reach out to take my left hand, and together we walked across, although I could never see the water. It was only once we were on the other side that my vision returned. I could then clearly see the open cave with the silvery stream flowing in front of it. The world where we found ourselves was not like this one, but rather a world made up of rainbows. Everything was holographic. We were luminous beyond the exquisite vision of luminosity. I knew it was here that we would emerge from our cocoons to become this dream that was still evolving. I felt so much love, so much energy and abundance. And then I awakened to find myself looking up at the roof of the cave. It was perhaps 3 a.m. Don Juan had stopped playing his flute, and a nightbird was singing sweetly. The fire was still burning, and he sat across from it in silence. I returned to my spot there and enjoyed the warmth and glow of the flames. I felt no need to return to sleep. In fact, I felt as though I might never need to sleep again. When dawn came, we let the fire burn out and sifted sand upon the last smoldering ashes. Don Juan thought that it would be a good idea to leave the spot thusly, so we gave our thanks, tied our gear upon our backs, and hiked back to the jeep. The sun was barely up when we got to the jeep. We both had the notion that we should drive to the coast near Santa Rosalia and have a discussion there, amidst the translucent natural beauty that is the shoreline of the Gulf. We breakfasted lightly in the jeep along the way, and within an hour and a half we were off-road and driving up the sandy coast. In a private cove, seated near the sparkling sea, Don Juan began what was to be our last lesson. "That final dream is bridged at the moment of death," he said, looking out at the calm water glistening in the sunlight. He lay back on his elbows and put his hat down slightly over his eyes. "I'll go first, just as you saw it. I'll be there, in that place we dreamed, and I'll meet you there when you leave this earth." I contemplated his words. "Where will we be?" I asked him. "There is no road map to get there," he said. "You must pass through the fire and cross over the spirit water, just as you saw it in dreaming. It is a real land, a pure land of the highest vibration. It exists before the formless infinite. Perhaps our journey will take us into infinity once we are reunited. How do I get there? I pondered, marveling at the wonders of dreaming. It is a matter of the energy body, he replied gently. No one can arrive improperly. The energy of that place is not predatory, and so only the truest intent and the purest attainment can herald entry. The first part of the journey is undertaken while yet alive in the physical body, as you are doing now. Through dreaming, practice, and right living, you fund the energy. Then you must see the place and the energy that will take you there. That is the purpose of the dream you had. Someone who is ready to leave must show it to you. Once the energy body has witnessed such a place and such a transformation, it begins to evolve. The dreaming and practices then continue throughout the life of the initiate. The next step is for the mentor to leave. That will be happening soon. When I do, I'll take a portion of your energy with me. Then begins the real journey, for a piece of your living energy will be taken across. In order to survive, you'll have to complete the work. When I come for that piece of energy, you will see me again in dreaming, just as you did last night. Only this time, we won't both just be building a bridge and sitting together to discuss our work. When I come for you again, I'll cross that bridge of energy. Then it will be for you to prepare as I have done. I will be waiting for you on the other side, and after you have lived your life and completed your preparations, you too will cross the bridge of energy. How will I cross it? The first step begins when the body nears death, he said. At that moment, the energy body seizes the life force from it. This is what causes the blazing flash of light that you saw. It is a fire from within. The energy body fuses with life force and starts to burn with life of its own accord, no longer needing the physical body to stoke the furnace. Dreaming teaches the energy body to operate at a higher level. And with the free energy to be found in dreaming, the life force of the energy body may be maintained endlessly. The next step is to exit the physical body. Once your energetic capacity has exceeded it, this is done by moving through the second barrier you saw. It appears as a field of liquid light. Native shamans have called it spirit water. This barrier can be crossed by merely stepping across it with the energy body, but one must remember to do so. The barrier may be crossed in two ways. The first way is to be dead. The second is to cross the energetic barrier with life force burning in the energy body. This is the option we choose. We have discovered this avenue over the millennia by working with the forces you saw on our first 2 nights dreaming at the cave. How does the energy body seize the life force? I asked him. You have to be shown how to do it. This is why the continuity is so important. One goes first, and then another after. The ability is developed in dreaming. Rather than just leaving enough life force within the physical body to maintain minimal respiration and heartbeat during the practice, the energy body begins to extract and concentrate life force fuel. It then starts turning that fuel into something that burns more efficiently. By combining it with higher order energies to be found in dreaming, and converting the combination into a self-generating source that is compatible with the non-predatory requirements of the realm you saw. Once the fuel is ready, you might say that it is very like a pearl. The energy body will come to retrieve it from the oyster, the physical body, right before the moment of death. This exit is not akin to an ordinary death in which the energy leaks out, still requiring the physical casing to further refine and concentrate it, but no longer having that option. In this form of exit, the life force, energy body, and awareness are fully capable of emerging into a higher state of being, just as a butterfly emerges from a chrysalis. When they cross the barrier, they do not drift through it without life, but rather there is an intent to what they are doing. There is knowledge and awareness, and a body to house it. This is a butterfly made of concentrated life force, incorruptible spirit, dreaming awareness, and light energy. Four of the most durable and valuable essences in creation. 4 is the number of a stable form, and with these 4, the serpent emerges from its old skin with its wisdom and longevity intact, trading in its physical body for an energy body of rainbow light, blazing with life force. The rainbow serpent, I said to myself. Indeed, Don Juan nodded in agreement. It takes a while to shed all the skin, just as the dreaming awareness may be maintained indefinitely with practice. So may the life force within the energy body be maintained endlessly when combined with the force of an incorruptible spirit in this manner. When and where is this forever, you ask? All space and time are simultaneous, but to the physical body, it seems as though time passes. The body, because of the physical concept of time, bridges to where the energy body already is. In truth, we are already there, and yet always infinite new possibilities present themselves. Since everything is simultaneous, if you change any one tiny detail, you change it all. The universe is always moving, and so it is forever changing, omnipresent and simultaneous, new yet ancient and pre-existing. And we strive to become what we already are. With all the possibilities out there, some of the most valuable things that human beings possess are their choices and their capacity to choose. With choice, we fly on the wings of intent, always using true seeing to guide us. I, for one, am happy with my own choices. I feel that you have chosen well. I know that you will continue to do so, and you will be of help to others. We have come to the end of a cycle, Merlina. These lessons are among life's greatest, the best and the last that human life has to offer. I am filled with joy we have been able to share parts of the path together. We will share much more as we emerge into what we are now becoming. Just trust your impeccability and the silent knowledge within you, and we'll see one another again. No one had ever spoken to me in such a manner about such final things and such powerful beginnings. The mystery truly is the journey, and if made properly, it evolves all the passion life has to give. We had gone from stillness into an explosion of light with the sheer force of our awareness. Perhaps some of the hardest things we choose to do are the goodbyes, he said. Even though this one is not forever, I will spare you that. I'd like for you to go back to Yuma when we return and work on your book. Follow Doña Celestina's advice. Keep writing about what you have seen, dreamed, and learned. Continue your healing work with Juan. He is a magnificent dreamer and has much more to teach you. One day, he too will depart, and so will Celestina. There will be lessons from those moments, gifts of knowledge they'll also share with you. When that time comes, you may feel that you are alone, but you will not be. All is one within the stillness. Continue your practice with the most vigorous intent. Try to live to be old enough so that you may share with someone, as we have shared with you. Whenever your time comes, though, You will know it is as I do now, and you will be ready. I was moved to silence and sat gazing at the sea, holding back tears from my eyes, and yet I was not sad. Somehow I was overjoyed, as if the longing of my entire life had been given wings at that moment. I smiled softly and nodded. Don Juan left our conversation at that. He felt that it was better, at cathartic moments of our lives, never to say too much. Instead, we swam in the waters of the Gulf above Santa Rosalia, and we took a long walk along the beach. The rainbow serpent, upon whose back I had ridden into the very core of my being, was going to turn on itself now and swallow its own tail. Soon the energy would lift off. I would take him to his home. He would depart it, and I would never again in this life, except in dreaming, see my friend, my counterpart, and my mentor. Epilogue. After our journey, I did return to Yuma to write, as Don Juan had suggested. I remained there for the entire winter, enjoying the warm temperatures and the desert solitude. I worked steadily each day on my manuscript, as both Don Juan and Doña Celestina had admonished me to do. Don Juan remained in Pozo, but told me that he might return to Yuma in the spring and would perhaps see me then, after I had finished my writing task. I saw Doña Celestina once during the winter at a Cocopa ceremonial event, and she informed me that she had been successful in liberating her client from the abusive man who had been plaguing her and her daughter. It seems that he had simply packed up one night and vanished, after successive visits in his dreams from Doña Celestina. I congratulated her, and she inquired how my writing was going. I told her that it was going very well, and that I hoped to have a book to show to both Don Juan and herself, perhaps in the autumn of the following year. As the spring of 1994 approached, I was nearing completion of my first manuscript, and I decided to return to the Smoky Mountain foothills for a brief time to enjoy the blossoms and the green trees. While visiting there, in the land where I was born, I awoke one night into dreaming to see Don Juan staring me in the face. His eyes were just inches from mine. I felt him pull at something within me, and I suddenly sat up in bed with a start. I was gasping for air and had broken into a cold sweat. I fumbled for the light and just sat in my bed shaking, leaning against the headboard for support, until it was late enough in the morning to call the Yuma reservation. Don Juan did not have a telephone, but somehow I knew that he had returned to Yuma. I could not explain the imperative need I felt to make the call, something that I would normally never have done. I sensed that it was time for me to return to Yuma immediately. I reached Don Juan's nearest neighbor on the phone. She lived less than a quarter of a mile away and was awake and at home. She told me that she had been out on her land the day before and had seen Don Juan from that distance, walking to his favorite mesquite tree. She recounted that, as he neared it, he simply dropped, and that by the time she and her nephew had been able to run over to the spot where he lay, he was dead. I began to shudder on the other end of the line, fully comprehending the significance of my dream and the timing of the whole affair. Trembling and hysterical, I began to blurt out the dream I had just experienced to Don Juan's neighbor. A Quitsan woman of 60 years of age, a good friend with whom he had shared mutual affection and respect. His spirit touched you, she told me, drawing in a deep breath that was audible over the telephone line. You should come right away. By the time I arrived, his body had already been cremated in the Quitsan tradition. Over and over again I was told the story from both the neighbor and her nephew. On that day in April, Don Juan had been walking. She had seen him seemingly open his arms to the sun overhead. He had looked up, and his body had dropped on the spot. They told me that he had not even been taken to the Indian hospital in order to be pronounced dead. The doctor had come there to make the pronouncement, since this was an old and most respected traditional elder. The cremation had been open and had been done that night on the ceremonial grounds, even though this type of cremation is normally forbidden in this day and age. I was in total shock. The only thing I could think of to do, besides weep, was to go and spend time with Doña Celestina. She was waiting for me at home when I arrived and confirmed all of my perceptions and the dream that I had had. "He did it just as he told you that he would," she said to me. "He came for you in dreaming that night as his physical body was burning. The sheer power of the whole thing was more than I could take. I asked Doña Celestina if I might remain with her for a while. She told me that I was expected to do so. I must remain in their homeland for at least 1 year, until the Kuruk took place, the second ceremonial cremation of release and recapitulation that is held for traditional elders of exceptional power and significance to the community. Only afterwards would I be free to leave." This was so, she said, because Don Juan had signaled in dreaming that some of his powers were being left to me. Doña Celestina told me that I should send for any things that I might need, for I would be there all during that waiting time. During the course of that year and a half, from the spring of 1994 until the fall of 1995, when the Kuruk was held, I remained in Yuma and San Luis, taking only very brief excursions of the utmost necessity elsewhere. One trip that I occasionally undertook was to the town of Algodones on the Baja, a small Mexican town between San Luis and the city of Los Angeles, California, which was the home of Carlo Castillo. It was this town that Carlos selected for our meetings. He was dying of cancer and had requested that I see him again. And since he was not really welcome in San Luis or in Yuma, and because I did not care for Los Angeles, we found our common ground among the shade trees of Algodones. Over many a serenaded open-air luncheon meeting in the little squares, we talked and he lamented his fate. The turn of events for him were not as he would have wished, and it was evident that he would have liked to change things, had this been possible for him. I strongly felt that it was possible, but unfortunately, he did not. In April of 1998, just 4 years after Don Juan's passing, Carlo finally succumbed to his liver cancer in the privacy of his home. I was not in shock, since I had known for a long time that this was coming and had prepared, but I was saddened by the manner of his death. Carlo had been a friend of long acquaintance. For all his instruction and for all his wealth of opportunities, he had not managed to improve his end one jot. A marked contrast to the death of Don Juan. I realized that how we live and how we apply our energy truly does have an impact on everything we do and everything we are, including the way we leave this earth. This case could not have been made more plainly or more poignantly to me, for I love them both, each in a different way. As for Juan, he still lives happily in southern Mexico, although revolutions are again prevalent in the area. He comes up to the border from time to time and stays with Doña Celestina in her home, just as before. We continue with our dreaming and healing work. Juan says that when it is his time to leave, he will do so dreaming. This is his natural avenue. One day his physical body simply won't rouse itself in the morning, and his energy body will go on. I hope that day is a long way off. Doña Celestina has relocated to a Cocopa town as of the date of writing this, my second book. She is quite well and fit. Doña Celestina says that she will not join us in the rainbow world for some time to come, since her dragon-like energy body has more to do within the fiery cauldron of the earth. Her preparations do not include leaving this world with her energy body until later. Rather, she will be navigating her energy in order that she may become even more at one with the earth itself. Someday, though, she will leave. Doña Celestina continues to be my greatest source of female, primordial, sexual energy wisdom. I continue my dreaming work and practice, just as my mentors have all advised me to do. I must admit that as a result of the deep energetic journeys we have undertaken, I have changed much more than I ever expected I would. A sobriety has come upon me, a knowledge of life and death, and of the paths in between. The power of our life force energies, of creation, and of transformation continue to reveal layer upon layer of exquisite, heightened awareness embedded within mystery. The timeless elegance of it all is awe-inspiring. Some people feel that human beings are at the end of an evolutionary cycle. Based upon what I have seen and experienced, I cannot say that this is the case. I have witnessed transformations beyond my wildest imaginings, rooted in the primordial powers of our sexual and life force energies, and in heightened awareness. I have seen with my own eyes emergence into a world of spiritualized life force and light. It has been my intent in this writing to share some of the secrets and the methods utilized by the ancient Nahualist sect of shamans to continue the evolutionary paths of our sexual life force energies and our awareness. It is my hope that people will take these practices unto themselves and work with them as the gems that they are for their own well-being and betterment, and for the betterment of humanity and human awareness as a whole. Peace, wisdom, balance, and power are the essentials if we intend to move lovingly into realms which are beyond human. In humbly undertaking to do the work with one's own energies, one can only gain, and often in ways that are quite inconceivable. I wish you well. About the author. M.Tunneshende teaches workshops on Nahualism, a specialized branch of shamanism which has roots in human, Nahua, Mazatec, and Toltec Mayan traditions. Since the publication of her first book, Medicine Dream, she has also made numerous public appearances as a lecturer and panelist, focusing on the healing applications of Nahualist shamanism. The end.